What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now it's time for the biggest party of the summer as the WWE prepares to take SummerSlam to WrestleMania-like levels. But did they manage to do that? Well, join us now as we recap SummerSlam, analysing the show for the good, the bad and the downright ugly. Brock Lesnar makes a huge return, and look at the breaking news on Bray Wyatt and AEW. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now first, let's start off with a recap of the show, as the pre-show has Biggie vs Baron Corbin. Now Corbin is fighting for the latest thing in his possession, the Money in the Bank briefcase, but unfortunately said item happens to belong to Biggie and Biggie's eager to get it back. Corbin fights desperately, but his last glimmer of hope ends when Biggie hits the big end, covering Corbin for the win. Biggie manages to win the match. Next, it's on to the main show, as it's now the Raw Tag Team Championship match as champions AJ Styles and OMOS take on RKBRO. Now the champions rely on their reliable formula of Styles tagging in the big man when things get dicey, but after Riddle knocks OMOS into the ring post outside, the big man is temporarily taken out of the picture. As Styles goes up for the roll up with the help of the tights, but Orton kicks out, hitting an RKO out of nowhere for the win, as Riddle and Orton become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. Next up, it's a bit of a snooze fest as Eva Marie takes on Alexa Bliss. Now Eva Marie finds out why Bliss has earned the nickname the 5 Feet of Fury as she dominates the match. But Dewdrop cheers on Marie, but Marie gets in a little offensive other than a brief moment when she takes Lily and slaps Bliss in the face with the Devil Doll. Bliss absolutely snaps and lands the snap DDT for the 1-2-3. Alexa Bliss wins the match, but after the bout, Dewdrop takes the microphone and announces that Eva Marie as the loser of the match before donning Eva's ring robe and walking off with it. It looks like Dewdrop's evolution days are finally over. Next up is the United States Championship match as champion Sheamus takes on Damian Priest. It's a battle of two powerhouse performers as Sheamus and Priest exchange blows and power-based attacks, but things heat up as both men get near falls. The Celtic Warrior goes for a submission with a heel hook, but when the Archer of Infamy rips off Sheamus' protective face mask, things quickly go downhill for the champion. Priest drops Sheamus headfirst into the top turnbuckle, then lands the Reckoning for the pinfall win, as Damian Priest is now the new United States Champion. Ray and Dominic then confer backstage, as Dominic apologizes for his past missteps, but Ray tells him, well, that's in the past. They have to focus on regaining the tag team titles tonight. That match is up next as they're up against the USOS, as Ray starts off strong then tags in Dominic. But Dominic doesn't fare so well and finds himself getting beat down by the USOS. Then he's finally able to make the hot tag and Ray goes into action. The momentum shifts to the Mysterios, but Jay knocks Dominic off the mat apron after they brawl. Back in the ring, Ray goes for the frog splash, but Jay manages to lift his knees. Double super kick from the Usos and a flying body splash from Jay puts the last nail in Mysterio's coffin, as they get the cover and retain the belts. Next up is the SmackDown Women's Championship match as champion Bianca Belair now takes on Carmella, as it's revealed that Sasha Banks is unable to compete. Now Belair says she'll get her hands on the boss eventually, but tonight she'll take out her frustration on Carmella. But not so fast though, as Becky Lynch's music plays and the man makes her way down to the ring, basking in the fans' cheers. Lynch disposes of Carmella, throwing her out of the ring and then into the steel steps, to which then Becky makes a challenge to Belair, and it's on. Now Lynch offers a handshake to Bianca Belair, only for Lynch to sucker punch her, hitting the manhandle slam for the cover, and Becky Lynch becomes the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Yeah, that was 20 seconds basically. Next up is Drew McIntyre vs Jinder Mahal, as Veer and Shanky are barred from ringside. Now Jinder Mahal finds it much tougher to defeat the Scottish Warrior without the help of his two henchmen, but Drew makes short work of Mahal, hitting the Claymore for an easy win. But after the match, Veer and Shanky check on the modern-day Maharaja as Mahal's henchmen decide to attack McIntyre, but that is until Drew takes his sword Angela out and scares the two off. Next up is the triple threat for the Raw Women's Championship as Nikki Ash takes on Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Now the triple threat stipulation keeps the fans guessing who can get the pin or submission while the third participant is in the mix. There's plenty of close calls, but it looks like there's no chance of anyone winning as all three women do their best to get the win or thwart their opponent's efforts. Ultimately, Charlotte hits a DDT on Rhea Ripley, and with the Nightmare knocked out of the ring, the Queen is now able to get the figure 8 leg lock on NIKKI, forcing the champion to submit. Charlotte Flair wins her 360th championship. Next up, it's Seth Rollins vs Edge. Now the story of the match is that Rollins is targeting Edge's neck, hoping not only to win the match, but end Edge's career for good. It's a fantastic back and forth that sees both men dig deep into their arsenals, including the Architect countering a spear into a pedigree and Edge going for the Edge-O-Matic and Glam Slam, paying homage to his wife. Rollins goes for the curb stomp, but Edge counters, locking in the Edgecutor, but Rollins makes it to the ropes, but Edge locks in a crossface. Rollins fights free, but Edge snaps, repeatedly slamming the Architect's head into the mat apron, locking in the sleeper hold as Rollins taps out. We then get one of the most pointless segments ever as The Miz and Morrison step out to introduce the Dripstick 2000, but both men realize it's missing. Enter Xavier Woods, who's decked out as Rosa Ramon, and delivers a funny impersonation of the bad guy, as well as some H2O soaking The Miz and Morrison. Yep, we really needed that segment. Next up is the WWE Championship match as champion Bobby Lashley, who's with MVP, takes on Goldberg. Now Goldberg is ready to show that age hasn't stopped him as he digs deep into his arsenal, hitting a flying shoulder tackle, body slam and lariat to gain momentum. However, MVP pulls Lashley out of the ring, stopping Big Bad Bill from spearing the champion. Another spear attempt is thwarted when MVP clocks Dollar Bill in the knee with his cane. But after that, Lashley regains momentum, targeting Goldberg's knee until the referee calls for the bell since Goldberg can no longer compete. Bobby Lashley retains by referee stoppage. After the match, the Almighty targets Goldberg's bum knee with a steel chair until Goldberg's son Gage jumps on the champ's back. Lashley quickly dispatches Goldberg Jr. with a hurt lock as MVP points out Bobby has no idea who is attacking him. The crowd cheers. And finally, it's now time for the main event as it's the Universal Championship match as champion Roman Reigns, who's with Paul Heyman, takes on John Cena. Now we gotta say we really love Cena's new merch, a tribute to Super Mario Bros. 3. But Reigns dominates early on, talking trash while he brutalizes the 16-time world champion, apologizing to Hollywood for having to beat up its star. However, Cena rallies back, hitting the attitude adjustments, including one outside the ring that plants him right through an announce table and another one off the middle rope. However, Cena can't get the 3 count and both men exchange punches, but Cena goes down after 2 Superman punches and the spear ends Cena's quest for the 17th championship, covering him for the win and Reigns retaining. But it's not over yet, as Reigns' celebration is cut short as Brock Lesnar's music plays. The Beast Incarnate makes his way down to the ring to confront Reigns in the ring, but Reigns backs out of the ring as SummerSlam goes off the air. It was even noted that after SummerSlam went off the air, Brock Lesnar just destroyed Cena in the ring. But anyway, that was a quick recap of SummerSlam. Now let's look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, a future announcing star. A congratulations to Rain Cruz not only for winning the WWE's announcement contest, but delivering the goods when she performed the ring announcing duties for the Baron Corbin vs Big E bout, as that must have been really nerve-wracking, but she managed to pull it off. Number 2, booing Logan Paul. Now call us petty, but it was great to hear the fans boo Logan Paul. Why the WWE is even bothering with bringing Paul back for an appearance after the negative reaction he got at WrestleMania 37 is anyone's guess. Number 3, RKBRO gets the gold. The WWE decided to shake things up by starting the show off with a Raw Tag Team Championship match. And while the match didn't set the world on fire, it got the fans going thanks to Randy Orton and Riddle winning the Tag Team Championship. It's unknown what's next for AJ and OMOS, but RKBRO is definitely over, a rarity for any team on the red brand. Number 4, and a new United States champion. Congratulations to Damian Priest, whose undefeated streak on the main roster continued with a well-wrestled win over Sheamus for the US Championship. The WWE has finally pulled a trigger on the Archer of Infamy singles push, and it's about time as Priest has been undefeated since his main roster debut, save for the Battle Royal, and a loss in a handicap match against The Miz and Morrison. Number 5, an awesome entrance. Nostalgia is a powerful force, and the WWE masterfully employed it in tonight's entrance with Edge. It's doubtful anyone could have predicted Edge coming out to his classic entrance from his days in the Brood, but he did, delighting the fans before switching gears to his rated R superstar entrance. Good stuff that was the perfect lead into a perfect match. As number 6, an awesome match. Edge vs Seth was everything the fans had hoped for and more. As cliched as it may sound, both superstars over-delivered, with Edge showing that he still has it and Rollins showing that he's still top of his game. The 21-minute match had fans on the edge of their seats as Edge eked out perhaps the hardest fought victory since his 2020 return. While some fans might be upset that Edge didn't give Rollins the rub, the reality is that Edge needed the win back from his previous losses to Roman Reigns. The WWE made the right choice here and there's always room for a rematch. Number 7, Bill puts over Bobby Lashley. Now tonight's WWE Championship match delivered more than expected, with Bill Goldberg not only putting Bobby Lashley over as a heel who will resort to anything to win, but doing so of one of the best performances fans have seen Goldberg since returning to the WWE in 2016. Not only did Goldberg perform more moves than his usual 1 or 2 maneuvers, but he wrestled for over 7 minutes. Now we're not actually being sarcastic here, but of course Goldberg looked a little too good as he seemed to have the match won until MVP's interference saved the champion not once but twice. Perhaps the biggest takeaway isn't that Goldberg put so much into the match, but that fans noticeably booed him when it looked like he was going to defeat the champion. It really shows that fans have really had enough of Goldberg, or that Lashley is really getting over as a heel. Maybe just something in the middle. Number 8, another one bites the dust. Now, although John Cena's attempt to win a 17th world title was thwarted, there's no denying he put on one hell of a match, giving Roman the rub while also giving the champion a run for his money. At first it looked like Cena was reliving his disastrous encounter with Brock Lesnar at 2014 SummerSlam as Reigns dominated and talked some downright hilarious trash. However, Cena gave as good as he got, making Reigns look even stronger in his wins over another legend. And an epic ending. The WWE ended SummerSlam as it should have, with a huge surprise return that had fans thinking of what's next for Roman Reigns and delivering just enough of an appetizer to get them into tune in for this week's SmackDown. There's no telling what will happen next with Reigns and Lesnar, which is exactly how the WWE wants to keep things so fans tune in to see. Hopefully we don't get a custody of Paul Heyman match. But that was the good. What about the bad? As number 1, Eva is just awful. Now we're going to keep it real and point out 2 things. Alexa Bliss's run as a Fiend fill-in has been pretty bad. And number 2, Eva Marie is awful. Eva Marie has no business wrestling on regular television, let alone a pay-per-view match. Now, WWE apologists can talk about how this was a sideshow attraction match, but it was a true piece of wrestle crap and would have found its way into the downright ugly if it wasn't for the amusing segment with Doudrop after the match. And number 2, Charlotte wins again. As Charlotte is now a 360th time women's champion, at least it seems that way. Her latest championship win has reduced her career to a meme, as well as a reminder of how broken the women's division is. What should have been a great night for women's wrestling turned into a 3-ring circus, with the WWE sending in the clowns with Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie, then ruining its young stars like Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. But that was the bad. What about the downright ugly? As number 1, a ruined return. Now, Becky Lynch returning to the WWE was a long awaited and could have been a magical moment after the man's lengthy absence from the WWE, but somehow though the WWE ruined the return, having Lynch challenge Bianca to a title match. Now this could have been an exciting match, but all they had to do was win in 20 seconds. They failed in so many ways with Lynch's return, ruining what should have been at least a competitive match and hotshotting the title around Lynch's waist. They obviously felt pressured by the publicity AEW has been basking in following CM Punk's return, or maybe they were just looking to pop the crowd. The WWE ruined what should have been the biggest moments of 2021, making BELAIR look like a sap and getting Lynch's return off on the wrong foot. But despite the serious stumble of Becky Lynch's return and some bad moments, SummerSlam had a definite big show feel and even times a WrestleMania vibe. What do you guys think of SummerSlam? Let us know in the comments down below. Now there is a bit of breaking news as it seems as Bray Wyatt is headed to AEW. Now the exodus of WWE superstars to AEW could see another big name signed, as Dave Meltzer discussed this during the latest Wrestling Observer Radio. He mentioned, "We're gonna see a lot of different people come in, including Bray Wyatt. It's not 100%, his non-compete is not up. It's most likely happening. It's the same stage when I said Aleister Black, long before it happened. It's the same stage. I don't think there's pen to paper or anything like that. It's an expectation that's pretty strong, put it that way." Would you guys like to see Bray Wyatt in AEW? Let us know in the comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.